All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is. And right here, right now, we got the one and only, we got the ever so talented Boston Cheez right here, live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
You already know it's a vibe every time I'm in the building. What's going on, King? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I gotta say, first and foremost, man, it's an honor to have such a talented individual like yourself taking over my radio station airwaves this evening, man. We've been definitely vibing to your music out here in Canada, man, and we're just happy to be able to hear the story behind these amazing projects.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I appreciate all the love coming from Canada. I mean, went out there often as a kid. You know, my family's Haitian, a lot of French roots. So that's love, Montreal, Quebec, Toronto, all them areas. Dumb love, you feel me?
But also, man, I want to take you back to the beginning of your amazing career, man. And I have to ask you, what actually made you decide to get into the music industry initially? Because, you know, like I said at the beginning of the interview, man, you're such a talented individual, man. This is definitely your calling, in my personal opinion.
Thank you, my man. Thank you, my man. Honestly, it was just, you know, coming up from the neighborhood. We used to just throw parties and, you know, make songs for the parties. Wasn't really trying to be anything in particular. You get what I mean? We were just being honest. And a couple mixtape DJs who came to some of our parties came and asked us to have a song, and we didn't really have a real recorded version. That was the first time we went in the studio. And then the rest is history from there.
And also, man, taking you back to July 31st of 2007, you were actually featured on 3 songs on the album What They Feel Like by Rated Roxbury, man. I was wondering, how did yourself and Roxbury get connected? And of course, what was it like working with him so early on in your career?
Jeez, yeah, that was, honestly, at the time, he was already doing his 1-2. He was doing his thing. And, you know, people were spelling me. That was a real early time. Yeah, that's crazy. That's dope that you went back that far, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, homie was cool, you know what I mean? We made some records. Shout out to Jaga B, international DJ. He kind of put it together. He's a big DJ right now, traveling the world, Montserrat, Montego, Island DJ. And he seen what we had going together, and he wanted, you know what I mean, to put it together.
And I gotta say as well, man, that project is absolutely phenomenal. Like, and I know it's 2007, so like, did you guys ever upload that to the internet, or do you guys just strictly do CD copies with that release? Because I really think for the listeners that don't know that project, they can always go back and actually check it out and hear, you know, Boston Cheez, like, and just be able to hear how much, you know, your music has changed throughout the years.
Yeah, yeah. It should be available on the internet. We did go hard copy back then. Hard copy was the way to go. I used to tour a lot in hard copy CDs. So that was the real early days. But it should be available on the internet somewhere.
And also as well, man, as you already know, we actually got connected through Rod Dollar Entertainment, man. I was wondering, how did you guys actually get connected? And of course, what is it like having him as your management and publicist, man? Because he is such a phenomenal individual.
Yeah, Raw Dollar, you know, it was all with the stars and the energy. Good guy, great company to work with. We're definitely doing a lot of big things going, you know, forward right now. There's just so much going on. It's hard to even put everything into a box. You get what I'm saying? But big music, big features, a lot of events. I linked up with him with a Grammy-nominated producer called J Beats. He did some work for Travis Scott, helped Trying to Be God, Nicki Minaj, a bunch of people in the game. He brought down me and one of my other producers, and we linked with Ra in the studio one night, recorded a record and shot a video. And since then, we've been pretty tight. You know, Ra invited me down to Miami. We linked up with Nori, Corrupt, Roscoe. And since that moment, it's just been ongoing from Rap City, Atlanta, to Vegas, to everywhere right now. So everything is, you know, definitely in alignment.
And also as well, man, I actually read, aside from the music industry, that you actually create movies as well, man. I was wondering, for the listeners that don't already know, like, how can they go about checking out some of your feature films?
Yeah, right now I work closely with J Hollywood Productions. So a lot of productions under them, either like the director, assistant director, AP, and so I've been doing that, and now coming forth there's going to be a lot more um, short films and TV shows that will be coming out with my company M3 and Hollywood Films together. So you'll definitely get a big touch of that going on, along with some campaigns that I put together for Starter and a couple other clothing companies as well.
And also, as well, man, jumping ahead to 2017, you actually did some phenomenal work with an individual by the name of June Life on the song Get It, man. I was wondering, what's the story behind that phenomenal collaboration? And of course, what was it like just actually like working alongside June in the studio?
Yeah, June Life. I actually we went to school together in the past, and he had a group called Retrospect that was taking off. A big backpack group with a lot of backing from a clothing line called Scope, and they was getting a lot of looks. And he seen my independent movement and how I was moving the streets, and he just basically told me like, "Yo, I need you on this record." And we got together and did that. And yeah, a lot of people loved it. And I believe Retrospect's supposed to be coming back together as a group, so that's gonna be dope.
And I have to ask as well, man. Like, what can our listeners expect from the reunion of Retrospect, man? Because like, I can just imagine what's gonna happen when you guys all get together in the studio again, man, and create that magic.
Yeah. They have a very boom bap sound, which I like. And me coming from that area, I feel like I'm more like futuristic, and I'm able to like bring a blend because I understand that boom bap. So whenever we get together, it's always something like a different sound. You know what I mean? So I always appreciate that. And them brothers over there at that camp.
And also, in the middle of 2017, you actually released the record Cool Shade. And I was always wondering, man, what is the creative process behind that amazing record? And is it still available to actually be listened to or purchased today? Because in my opinion, man, when that record dropped, it most definitely took hip-hop to a whole new level, man. I just love what you did with that particular record itself.
Yeah, Cool Shades was a dope time, a dope little project. Yeah, it's available now on Spotify, Apple, Tidal. Had some big records on there. Honestly, had a couple record deals offers off of that project and that situation, man. And a lot of people still go back to it to this day. Might even re-release some records and things of that nature. Just because I did have one record that went really big, and I feel like it took the energy away from the project, but it brought people to the project. So it was a great thing, but also something that was new for me.
And I have to ask as well, like, is there any like hard copies available of these older projects? Because I do know that, especially around 2017 and even now, like CDs are unfortunately starting to make a fade out.
Yeah, I mean, we did do hard copies. We went on tour, did a whole run on the East Coast, South Carolina. Probably sold over like 20,000 copies in the streets at that time, man. It was a great time, pool parties. Shout out to O'Shea from Love and Hip Hop. He threw some pool parties with us. It was definitely a great time. Great time. That was a great time.
And also as well, man, you were actually sponsored by Starter Official, man. I was wondering, how did that sponsorship actually come to be? And of course, what is it like being sponsored by one of the biggest clothing companies in North America or even the world?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Combat Jack, R.I.P. He was one of the ones that leaded with podcasting. He's great friends with Carl. Carl is a New York Giant alumni, superstar, veteran, and he has a partnership licensing deal with his company, GII Sports. And at the time, people from different areas. They had New York, they had the West Coast, but I come from Boston, and they really loved what I was doing. Met them a few times at a couple parties, who's parties, and they loved my energy. I came in with my clothing line, and all of my camp was dressed in my clothing line, and I feel like they just loved the energy of how it was moving. And from that point on, it started with just a few boxes until a full-blown sponsorship. So now they support me with my endeavors in Atlanta and anywhere I go. So, shout out to Starter, shout out to Carl. I appreciate them. They're one of the biggest supporters right now, and I appreciate them noticing me before everything got real big.
And I gotta say as well, man, in my personal opinion, that's a huge sponsorship to have, man. And I gotta say, did you ever think you might have your own clothing brand actually come out under Starter? Because I just think, having some Boston Cheez Starter merchandise, man, most definitely will just elevate the clothing game, man.
Yeah, that's literally right there in the works. It's something that we can do. Right now, we got a lot going on with Corrupt, so I'm trying to just let some of the music get through its next phase, and then when we go into the super branding, I know I have Starter there to support me, and I want, of course, show them love and bring my attention to them, and vice versa. So it's been a lovely relationship, and I only see it growing.
And also, as well, speaking of Corrupt, that was actually next on my list, man. I also noticed that you have actually done some work with, of course, Corrupt of the Dog Pound. I was wondering, how did yourself and Corrupt initially get connected? And, of course, what is the story behind that collaboration, man? Because I'm just going to be honest, man, with Corrupt's old school sound and your new school flow, I think you guys can definitely just make absolute classics together in the studio.
Yeah, man, that's all thanks to Raw Dollar Management. Like I said, when we linked up, actually got created a real dope bond with Roscoe DPG, another part of Dog Pound, Corrupt's younger brother. And yeah, we have something going on, a nice movement called the Luxury Click. And right now, people are anticipating and looking at the sounds that are coming out. So there's dope energy coming forth with all that going on. Of course, the big homie Corrupt is there advising and, of course, in the studio with us. So everything is all organic, it's all love, and it's all authentic, and that's how I love it, you know what I mean? I love when the energy's real like that.
And also, as well, on May 31st of this year, you actually premiered your music video for 9 to 5. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about this phenomenal song release. And of course, where can we actually buy it or stream it today?
Yeah, 9 to 5, you can find out on all streaming platforms, YouTube, Tidal, Spotify. It's actually just got picked up by a couple of networks, independent networks that's going to be streaming it as well on Roku and some other platforms. 9 to 5 is really like an explanation of my journey. I've been in this game for a little bit, as you said, it all the way back to 2007, and this has really been my business. I have thrown events, I have many sponsorships outside of Starter, from Fonto companies to smoke shops, and I curate events on top of directing. This is my life, and I wanted to create a record that could show that and just kind of explain that, like, hey, this is my 9 to 5, and not everybody's going to understand. We often go through different things in life with relationships or just people who don't live the way I live, independent. So, this song was just for all the other people who their hustle, their grind, their ambition is their 9 to 5, and they've made that work for them. I know this song will resonate really clear with them. Aside from it just being like, a dope sound and cool beat, I know when people really sit down and listen to the words and vibrate through them, they'll understand, they'll understand why it's one of my favorite songs and it's become some other people's favorite songs as well. You know what I mean?
But I have to ask you, man, what is next for the one and only Boston Cheez, man? Like, is there anything we missed during this interview? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote Well, we still have you here live on the Canadian airwaves.
Well, I just want to give a shout out to MF Doom, RIP. You know, he was another person that gave me a big opportunity. We had a record called Black Banks. You can still find that on YouTube. And right now, I want to give a shout out to Corrupt. You know, he has a label situation where I can't let out all the info, but if you keep tuning, you're gonna see a lot of dope things coming out. Picked up a new sponsorship today. Shout out to Long Way. We're gonna do a lot of big business. We have a big announcement coming up. We shot a big video with Hollywood Production Studios. They just shot for Asian Doll, Metro, Future. One of my biggest production videos yet that we're gonna be releasing with Corrupt in them imprint. So right now, super excited. I got Rod Allman behind me. You know, came through to my city. My city's showing me love. Atlanta, I get down there, they showing me love. The West is showing me love. And now Canada is right there, and I can't wait to pop up. Oh, I got a song with somebody from Canada too. A cat called Minty Burns from Toronto. Shout out to Minty and the whole camp. I'll be back up in Toronto real soon. That song did real good, did great numbers. So, man, shout out to Canada for loving me and showing that love, man.
Hey, man, I gotta say, man, you're most certainly welcome, man. I gotta say, that Canadian artist you brought up, man, I actually heard of that individual as well, man. You know, they're definitely making some huge waves down here in Canada, man. Him and his entire camp. So I'm most definitely expecting him to go worldwide very, very soon.
Yeah, nah. Minty's a good dude. Always in LA. We did shows everywhere. We did shows together in Atlanta. We teamed up, did some stuff in Boston and New York, and recently been hitting me up on the West Coast. I just haven't had a chance to connect. I know we got a lot of new music coming. So yeah, man, I'll probably be in Canada soon with Minty, man. Shout out to Minty, man.
Hey, man, hopefully you do some concerts, man. I'll definitely pull up. It's been a long time since this COVID stuff that we actually had a concert going on here in Canada, man. So hopefully we can see you guys live and in person.
Yeah, that would be fire.
But I gotta say, first and foremost, Boston, before we actually part ways, man, if you can, actually drop them social media handles, man. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything Boston Cheez if they're not already doing so.
It's your boy Boston Cheez, man. When you want to tap in with me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's the @ BOSTONCHEEZ. Again, that's BOSTONCHEEZ. Boston Cheez. You know, and that's the vibes.
But I gotta say, first and foremost, man, thank you so much for just taking the time out of your busy evening and sliding into the 97.7 FM airwaves, man. It definitely was an honor and most definitely a privilege, man. And hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
Of course, man. I'm going to be out there real soon, man, so I'm going to connect with you.
Hey, man, most definitely. That sounds like a plan, man.
In Canada for you guys.
That definitely sounds like a plan, man. But for now, most definitely have yourself a wonderful night, man. And hopefully, and like I said, man, hopefully we can make that happen.
All right, King. I appreciate you, man. This was dope. This was fire. Everybody tune in. You know what I mean? Got the newest, hottest people every week. You see I'm here. That's what we doing. We run it up. In-state, out-of-state, out the country, in the country. The hottest hip-hop out. I appreciate you.
Hey, man, I appreciate you as well, man. Thank you so much, boss. Have yourself a great night.
All right. Peace, King.